guys got a field day of the hooch, and we had just got off like a 48-hour convoy that like everything went wrong. You know, stuff was falling off the truck. Like we were getting detoured. It was just horrible. And you know, we got the mop buckets and stuff, and our gunny walks in the hooch and goes, "What the hell are you doing?" He was El Salvadorian.
Oh, nice.
What are you who's doing? Right?
What was his name?
Gunny Lazo. Yeah. What are you who's doing? Well, first sergeant came in and told us to do. Like, you don't listen to first sergeant. You listen to me. You are my Marines. I told you to go get chow. And he's just going on this tirade, and we're like, is he pissed at us? Because we listened to
He
higher
just
ranking.
super flexed.
Yeah.
See, that was
He kicked us out of the hooch and told us to go get chow. And then he walked his happy ass to H&S and yelled at first sergeant. You could like kind of hear him in that tent yelling, "You never tell my Marines what to do."
Yeah.
you know what? That was old
That's
school.
how my squad leader was.
That was
how my squad leader
that was old school. When I was going through boot camp, it was 1995, and I had old school senior chief EA, and this dude was nasty. Boy, he was nasty. He was cross-eyed, and he'd come in. He would come in and he smoked cigarettes
see the
like
cross-eyed?
one after another, huh?
Let me see the crosses.
So he would smoke one cigarette after another and a coffee, and when he was mad, he'd get up in your face, and you're just like, oh my God, that smells so bad, right? This dude, as soon as the shit hit the fan, would stand up for you.
Yeah.
Like we had just graduated, and he was in there and he was messing with us. You know, he was like, "Hey, it's good to have you guys in the fleet." You know, we were done. He was like, "You guys just chill." So we were messing around with everybody, you know, tying people to bunks and, you know, having a good time. And it was all good fun. Like, we didn't haze anybody or anything like that. We all had good fun. Well, one of the chiefs from another company had seen us and lost it and came down, and he said, "Lock it up." So we had to shut everything down, and he got it hot as hell in there, and he started PTing us. And our senior chief came walking in, and the chief was on the other end, and he was on this end. He was like, "What the fuck are you guys doing?" Like, "Chief is in here PTing us, sir." And he was like, "Nah, stop." So we all started to stop, and this chief lost it and turned around. He saw our senior chief standing there. He goes, "In my office now." That was it. It was like, so to have that experience, knowing that there's these old school guys.
Yeah.
Dude, once I got to the fleet, you could tell who that old school dude was. That's the one you attached yourself to. That was the one that was going to be like, "Here you go." He's the one that taught you the ropes.
Yeah.
How to get through life on the ship. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So,
I think a big misconception civilians have about the military is that that everyone's a good leader. There's some people that
horrible.
Oh,
Horrible.
yeah.
Yeah.
You got that corporal who's your squad leader or something, and they're just
Yeah.
not cool.
I had a thing.
Then
Their shit don't stink.
Yeah.
On my second deployment, I was the team leader for the whole entire workup. And one of the seniors, he was a two deployment saga. I don't even know what that means, pretty
Yeah.
much. Shitbag, 2 deployments, right?
I
So,
saw both of them.
yeah, both saga and 2 deployments. So he didn't want to do the workup. So he just said he didn't say anything about extending.
Yeah.
Right before we were deploying, he said he wanted to extend. So our lieutenant, platoon lieutenant, is that what it's called? He tore his ACL playing basketball. He loved me.
Yeah.
So we got a new one. He's like, "Oh, this guy's senior to Cobb, so we're gonna make him the team leader." And I was so pissed because I did the whole workup as the team leader with my guys,
Yeah.
and this shitbag wanted to deploy. He didn't want to do the workup,
Yeah.
and they gave it to him because he was senior to me. And the guy with the torn ACL, that lieutenant, was trying to get it
Yeah.
reversed. And
Yeah, hooked to you.
People gotta understand the military changed a lot from the early mid 90s up through probably September 11th.
Oh, I bet that changed for everything.
Started getting
for everything.
real political. Everything became political, and then you get these young kids that come in, and especially in my job, you hand them a gun and a badge at 17, 18 years old.
Oh, you become like
They
like
get
a
this power
Cartman.
trip,
Yeah.
and we're like, "Whoa, hey, Junior,
Yeah.
you need to slow your roll a little bit. You're gonna get a nice big old Marine dude that's gonna get out of his car and he's gonna smoke you."
Yeah.
I was like, you need to chill. You're not Billy Badass that you think you are.
Yeah.
Like, so it was it was tough dealing with that generation of kids coming in,
Yeah.
and they just got these big heads, and then and they would step on anybody to get ahead of their classmates. They'd step on anybody.
Yeah.
So it's like, so when you were in for long enough, you learned how to weed those kids out and be like, yeah, you know what? Come here, buddy.
Okay, so you kind of mentor
We're gonna
them
we're
and-
gonna we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna stick you over here in training for a little while, or we're gonna
Alright.
put you on a gate for a little while. Let's knock you down a few pedestals,
Yeah,
and we'll
before
put
you're
you on a
on
gate for 12 hours
Yeah.
for a few months. And they
That'll
learn
pull
real
you
quick.
out.
Yeah, they learn
Yeah.
real quick. They're like, okay, well, maybe I need to chill out a little bit.
Yeah.
Then that mentality follows them when they get out of the military.
Yeah.
And, like I can see as an MP that'd be tough because a lot of guys just think they're gonna be a shoo-in for a police department, and
They get waitlisted.
yeah,
Yeah,
And
because there's 300 other veterans that are all in front of him on the list.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they all scored higher than him,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they just get discouraged. And,
that's something that's controversial nowadays. A lot of guys, they made the civil service and the veteran standard on it so powerful that these departments got flooded with vets.
Yeah.
And now in the policing community, they're like, we need diversity on our team. So, it's kind of controversial to bring up because the veteran community is like, what the hell? Like, you're
We
trying
should
to take
get these jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I understand from a police chief's perspective that you can't just staff your team with 18 Marines.
Yeah.
You need people that have different backgrounds. Guys who are now 30 who want to become police and
Yeah.
they worked in financials for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know some
Yeah.
people are
Teach
career
people.
changer like that.
Yeah.
And just for the community identification with the community, maybe people just having different perspectives and stuff,
Mm.
so no, I can totally see how that would be important.
Yeah, I know some vets I talk to is just like they hate that idea. No, civil service, military should always be in the forefront. And I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah, well, the training, everything that guys went through, the discipline building, they make very good police officers. But then again, you get a whole team of them, then there's absolutely no diversity in
Yeah.
your police
Yeah.
department.
I would honestly rather have an EMT team of combat vets than I would a bunch of combat vets as police officers. Honestly,
Oh, I see what you're saying.
honestly, I
Yeah.
really would.
Why do you say that though?
We tend to stay very calm in
Yeah.
very chaotic situations.
Yep.
EMTs don't pay that well. Everyone
But
wants
that's
to
the
do it.
problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
The only way you can get paid well as an EMT is if you're in an emergency room.
Yeah.
Honestly, if
Oh.
you get into a hospital, that's pretty much the only way you're going to make good money as an EMT.
Or go medic and fire.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah,
guys
yeah.
do that.
Yeah.
That's a very common route because it's a great route. It's the best part-time job out there.
Yeah.
yeah.
A lot of EMTs, a lot of the younger male EMTs,
Yeah.
that's exactly what they do is they push for the town fire departments and they go the medic fire department route. So they're a full-time fire department
Yeah.
and then they just do they like pick up shifts on the medic truck every once in a while.
Good friend of mine, he did both. He went through the police academy, hated being a cop. He did everything he could to get on Boston PD, and he finally got on. And after like 2 years, he was like, I don't like this at all. He went fire.
Did he?
And he
I
loved
just
it.
feel like if you tell someone you're a firefighter, everyone's like, "Oh, cool, high five," and then someone says, especially today. And
Yeah.
I love police. I do. I have no beef. I've never had a bad interaction with a police officer. But I'm also non-threatening and very eloquent, especially when I'm about to get in trouble. Like they would always send me to talk to law enforcement and be like, "Hello, sir.
Yeah.
How's your evening going?
I'm sorry.
Dr. Kenneth Texera.
PhD.
Yeah.
What's he called?
I am legit.
I'm just a little guy.
I know, and I can do no damage against you.
Pull your glasses out of the center.
Yeah, right.
Smoking a pipe.
Hello,
I hope there wasn't too much of a ruckus.
I'm pulling you over for speeding.
Yeah. A lot of the guys we find at work, they're trades guys through and through. A lot of the guys are actually very successful that find themselves behind bars.
Yeah.
Just have that one bad incident.
Domestics.
Yeah.
That's
Yep,
it's
one
called.
bad incident.
Yeah.
They
And now,
just
You
fucked
just
up that
fucked up one time and you
Yeah.
got caught up.
There's if police show up to a domestic, there's very little leeway. Almost 90% of the time, someone's getting arrested.
Yeah.
And that's just a CYOA thing that the
Yeah.
state laws did. The police departments did because they don't want to be legally liable if anything does happen.
Yep.
So they tell you to go to your parents' house for the night, and then you go back. You know,
Yeah.
they figure, you know, someone in custody can't do that sort of thing until, you know, they go see the judge.
Yep.
Yep.
It's usually a 48 mandatory, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
Especially if it was violence
Yeah.
or weapon or anything.
Yep.
Yep.
But yeah, we find a lot of guys on that. Funnily enough, motor vehicle charges a lot.
Yeah.
Negligent operation.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of it's road
OUIs.
rage.
Yep.
Repeat offenders on suspended licenses. I've seen a lot of that. Licensing is huge. You
Yeah.
lose your license, you know, kind of forces your hand because you have to get to work, especially if you're 30. You can't just
Yeah.
let your family, you know, go hungry and stuff like that.
Yeah, you gotta work, so you're under pressure to move, and
Yeah,
can't get an Uber that day. You jump
Yeah.
in the whip.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And get away with it for so long. You're like, oh, screw it. I got to keep working.
Yep.
And then, you know,
It's that
cops will
one
look at
day
you.
you just bump that line, and that cop flips the light on, and now you're sitting there and you're an honest dude.
Yeah. You're
But-
trying to provide
Yeah.
and support.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I'm trying to provide for my family, and if you get that one real dick,
Yeah, just they're sick of your
have a nice
shit.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what we come in to do is, you know, the employment issue, but we're finding once a guy loses a license, you look on Indeed and see how many say required to have a license.
Yeah,
You know,
Oh, so for
Yeah.
every job you have to have transportation.
50%.
yeah.
Yeah.
90, dude. Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say 90%, right?
Yeah.
So
Like and that's the other problem too is now it's like, oh well, everything's going telecommunication and all of this, and we're finding that it's not necessarily true. There's a lot less remote jobs out there than you think.
yeah,
Most of them require you to at least
Show
attend
up.
an office at least a couple times a week.
Yeah.
yep.
You know, most of your therapy is going virtual, but
There's still
it-
those
it's-
times.
Yeah,
Mm.
I mean that's so.
Then the jobs that you can get without a license are your get well jobs. You know,
Yeah.
go flip burgers at McDonald's or Burger King or something.
Go
Yep.
bag groceries.
But
Yeah.
you're making minimum
And a
wage, and then your fees just keep adding up from the R&B,
Yes.
and then you can't pay it back. You know,
Okay.
just
So your goals just become, and then you get that hopelessness, right? And then substance misuse, and
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this problem is so insurmountable that I can only
especially
avoid.
you just lost your license and you were making $50 an hour going into Boston every day from Union.
Yep.
And now the only thing you really can do is work for $15 an hour. You know,
Yeah.
that house goes away, your family goes away, you know, that sort of thing.
End up on Mass Ave.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know,
yeah,
I mean, and it sucks because there's help out there.
Mm.
Like it's just a lot of these guys. It's getting them
To come out and
want
ask for
it.
the help.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
A lot of
think
guys
it's the
don't ask for
isolation,
help.
right? Because
Yeah.
that's huge, even in therapy and stuff. Is just to be like, dude, I need help, or like,
Mm.
who can I support to, or
But
can
see,
I-
that kind of brings me into this. Is I'm becoming a very huge advocate of vet to vet healing.
yeah, like peer support type of deal.
Yes, the vet fishing team. Oh God, how many days did we spend out there with each other? It's just us to chill, and
Yeah.
we don't have to worry about a spouse finding something out that we
Did wrong
that
with
that's
that.
in here that we can only share with our
Yeah.
fellow brothers and sisters that we serve with, or you know, it's a place for us to get together. I have a group of 7 guys, my IOP group, that when times are tough for any one of us, we can step on there and introduce him, waiting for him to join. He's a little more of a loner, but
No, I should go with you, dude, because I could. give you
but
some
yeah, I
good
mean,
time,
and that's the thing is we have a lot in common. We're able to sit down, have a little poker tournament between us guys, you know, and just be able to release and know that if I'm having struggles that I don't necessarily want to talk to anybody else about, I can always go to them.
Yeah,
Always.
without judgment and
Right.
moment.
One
Yeah.
thing I've noticed, I've been out for 10 years now, and I'm starting to notice more and more that nobody, no matter how much you try to explain it to somebody, nobody understands it unless they
They did
done it.
that.
So,
yeah, different branches and stuff. Is how good.
yeah, even different branches, different MOSs, different.
Yeah.
It's always good to find someone that was very close to your story, Kazaki.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, all of us had pretty big jobs. There's some pretty obscure jobs. You know?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
finding someone that has your exact story.
Yeah.
Luckily, like MPs are done about infantry, done about
That's why.
engineer,
Yeah.
equipment.
That's why the combat vets, it's very important for them to flock together.
Yeah.
We need to stop the isolation and get the groups together, because even though they're Marine Corps and I'm Navy,
Yeah.
we were all in
Similar.
that shithole together.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
I mean, we were there. We saw a lot of similar things.
Yeah.
We had similar things happen to us, and some are more severe than others are.
Yeah.
But the thing that's nice about it is none of my friends, no matter how severe their stuff were, minimized mine.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
So even though this guy may have been through the absolute worst case scenario you
Yeah.
can possibly, the movies,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know,
That's what I've
he
seen since I've
never,
gotten
he
into
never, ever minimized
My
what
thing.
I went through,
Yeah.
even though it wasn't even close to what he
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, right.
But what I saw and what I went through while I was there, he's never minimized that to me.
Yep.
He's always been like, brother, you suffered just as bad as I do.
Yep.
So to have that camaraderie of combat vets helping combat vets
Yeah.
is huge, so big.
Now-
That's probably one of the biggest therapies that you can possibly do.
When I meet guys, right, in like, I don't know, 2015, I think, we had more of the vets like at once at the vet fishing team.
That was our group.
Remember? That was our.
Towards,
We had like
towards
7
the
or
end
8
of
people at once,
2015.
right? Like
Yep.
lined up.
Yep.
And what I noticed when I had a bunch of people showing up at the same time in fishing was that they grouped up by branch, but I wonder how much like when you were there matters too.
Okay, so
Like similar
so
regions, similar
here's the
times?
thing.
Yeah.
I did 20 years and 19 days. I served with a lot of different people
Yeah.
from a lot of different branches.
Yeah.
I spent the first 4 years in the amphibious Navy. So my time, I spent more time with Marines
Yeah.
than I did with Navy people.
Yeah.
We had more Marines on our ships than we had Navy.
Yep.
All of our flight crews were mostly Marine Corps because they were all the Helos and Harriers.
Yep.
All the Mews, that's all Marine Corps.
Yeah.
So when they came on, we'd have 4,000 Marine Corps with only 1,500 Navy.
Wow.
So I was friends
The
with a lot of
culture was Marine.
Almost
Yeah.
all of our training department for Master at Arms
Yeah.
was Air Force and Marine Corps.
Yep.
All of our canine stuff was all Air Force.
Yeah.
All of our combat training was all Army.
Wow.
So when we went to Iraq, I did all Army training in Fort Jackson. I worked with the Coast Guard when I was up in Washington, so I did a lot of shoots with the Coast Guard. I did a lot of runs with the Coast Guard, a lot of escorts with those guys. So I saw so many different branches
Yeah.
that I'm able to adjust to these guys.
Like the culture
I'm
of
able
them?
to adjust to bringing an Air Force guy in,
Yeah.
bringing an Army guy in. That's where a lot of my guys that I'm in IOP with,
Yeah.
when they realized how to do that, it changed their lives. Because now they're seeing a Navy guy where most people be like, Navy guy,
Right?
you were out in the ocean.
Right, right.
No, I was in the desert.
Yeah.
My boots were just as dusty as everybody else's, or caked in this much mud when it rained in the desert.
Oh my god.
So you couldn't hardly move around. But I was there.
Yeah.
It didn't matter if I was Navy. It didn't matter if I was Army, Marine Corps, Air Force. We were all there together.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Marines just in general are probably the branch that is
Yeah.
most bonded afterwards. Like,
Yeah.
Do you think
It's
it's also like
definitely-
your training is long? That's a long boot camp. Does
I
that?
think the
No.
Marine Corps just instills
It's the heritage.
Okay, so
It's
it's,
the
the
Marine
culture
Corps
of
heritage.
It's the heritage, it's the culture, it's
I've even talked to my friends that were in the army, and they're like, dude, I'm kind of jealous. Of
Yeah.
Marines. Like, you all go out on your birthday. He was like, on the army birthday, he's like,
there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
sitting
Yeah.
there taking
No,
shots.
it's like Christmas for you
I
guys.
can
You
tell
light
you,
up.
I can
when
tell
you
you
talk
the
about it.
most fun time in the year for the Navy and Marine Corps was the Navy Marine Corps ball. Dude, we had a blast at that thing
Oh.
every year. Like I said, even when I was in Washington, all of the nuclear security was all done by who? The Marines.
Yeah.
So when we integrated with them, most of our higher ups were all Marine Corps.
Yeah.
So all of our, we had a Navy captain and a Marine Corps colonel, and it was our commander and our executive officer. So, for me to adjust to other people in other branches is very easy.
Yeah, that's cool.
But they're right, Marine Corps by far.
It has its
It-
own
it's-
like
Yeah.
culture.
They still look at me and they're like,
You go to-
It's like a different breed of human being.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
It really is.
I noticed like because I fish a lot of different people, you know, and like I'd say I fish probably like 35 people probably, you know, since the very beginning, you know. Some people for longer, more intensely, and other people just to like kick it or like I don't know, or it's like I have to go fishing just means I need to vent about my wife or some shit, you know. But the Marines are down for whatever. I can't beat them up enough on a boat. Like it's like, oh shitty, cool, let's go. Like
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and then it's like, whereas I have some people like Army and stuff, they don't want
You
to be
gotta-
on a boat.
you
They have to
gotta
be freshwater.
understand, that was the Navy's amphibious.
Yeah,
That's
it's like golden
why they
retrievers.
became,
It's like go.
is because the Navy was like,
need to get
I
on the
bet you
beach."
we could do really good if we launched a bunch of badasses to clear the beaches so we could get everybody else in.
Yeah,
That's what they were there for.
I think,
They're amphibians, so
that gung ho-ness though on the
people
water
are
is fun.
young. I think honestly the attachment to water is why some people don't even consider the Marines and just go Army. Is there's this they're not,
Fear of it.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
even fear, but I think they're just. For me, I've always loved salt water and the ocean and stuff, and I think that was a no-brainer for me when I chose to go Marine Corps. It's like I still have that sense of it being fitness. You know,
Mhm.
like I could go on a boat or I could go overseas.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was kind of that. I mean, it's right in the name. The Marine Corps is an expeditionary force. You know,
Yeah.
it's a little. To me, that sounded more adventurous than the Army, where you could end up, you know, with these massive units on these huge fobs. You know, and you're going out. You know, you might not ever go out in a convoy or something.
Yeah.
You know, besides the infantry guys who were on the small PBs and stuff.
Yeah.
But just the smaller nature of the Marine Corps and that expeditionary kind of legacy of it made me
Yeah.
more interested. You know, I had friends who did really cool stuff that you'd never heard about, or only like 10% of the people even know it happened. You know,
Yeah.
JSOC deployments to the Philippines. You know, they were doing
That's
snatching
cool.
crabs.
yeah,
Ah.
close protection. You know, they
Yeah.
went through a 3 or 4 month school, run by SEALs or recon Marines, to teach them up a little bit and get them onto a new skill level, and then
Well-
they would go and do close protection for ambassadors and stuff.
Yeah, we had a guy in Hawaii when I first became a Master at Arms. Yeah,
I'm a Hawaii Marine, bro.
Yeah, that was my first stint as a Master at Arms at
Hey,
Pearl
baby.
Harbor, bro. With all the local kind.
Hey, brother,
Hey, Holly.
Oh,
when I
God.
moved out in Hawaii, my first night, the neighbors behind me was like, "Hey, bro, come grind, brother, cuz."
You're like, what?
I had no clue what grind was.
Hey,
you know what
you
grind
thought, you
is?
thought he was getting a
It's-
skateboard.
It's eat.
He
It's
thought he was
Oh,
getting
no
a skateboard.
way.
Yeah, he was
going
like-
out to eat.
He's
yeah.
like, "Come grind, bro."
Yeah, I'm like, come to our barbecue.
What
We
are you doing?
got Kahlua pork and some poi. You want some poi?
Oh, the
They-
food was amazing. Though.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
So good.
Kahlua
L&L
pork,
Drive-In.
sticky
What was
rice.
that place right outside the back gate?
That was L&L Drive.
L&L Drive-In.
Yeah.
yeah. That
They're
was the
everywhere.
big one on the island. Did
Yeah.
you guys ever go over to Fort Island at all?
No.
There was a little shack over on Fort Island, this little lady,
Yeah.
and every morning she would come through and take our order at the gate. So everybody wanted to stay in Fort Island because she'd go back and make breakfast sandwiches.
Oh yeah.
Portuguese sausage and
Oh,
egg
yeah.
and cheese on like this big, thick toasted bread. Oh,
Yeah.
she would come, and then we had this real dick E6 come in, and he took over our thing, and he said, "You cannot take those anymore." So we were like, "All right." So I became a desk lieutenant, and I changed that shit.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he was so mad. He went to training. Yeah, Hawaii was an interesting place.
Yeah, that place was great.
Yeah, I loved it.
I learned pretty quickly that I was only 20 when I was in Hawaii. That if you just slip the guy $40, the big Samoan dude that's That's the bouncer.
You can do anything you want.
Do you want to hear what we used to?
$40, you beat him around back and lets you right in with the stamp.
We used to go to Lulu's. You know Lulu's on the strip.
Yeah.
We used to go down to Lulu's and we'd wait for people to come out.
Yeah.
And we'd offer them money for their wristbands
Yeah.
to look
Oh,
21.
yeah.
Or when they throw them in the trash, we'd pick them out and
Yeah.
put them on, and that's how we did it back then. Yeah.
Yeah, we. Did you guys ever go down Waikiki at all?
Oh yeah.
Remember Moose?
I got married there.
Moose McGillicuddy's.
No.
No.
So Moose McGillicuddy's, there was a Irish bar right across the street from it. Moose McGillicuddy's had a bar club upstairs, and it was a restaurant downstairs. It was one of the happeningest spots.
I probably went there.
And then
Senior
Red
Frogs
Lion,
was
Red
nice
Lion
bar,
was
yeah.
another one. That was the one you went downstairs, and the ceiling was about this tall, and it had the dollar bills all over it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That was the Red Lion.
Senior
And then-
Frogs.
Well, that was a place to eat, fat boy.
No, that wasn't. It's a crazy bar.
Oh,
dude.
that night
No,
they do
it-
crazy
yeah.
stuff.
So
right?
then over
Yeah.
it, and then
stuff.
Yeah.
and then they had the Irish Rose
Yeah.
in the hotel. Those were the ones that we always frequent. So we went to Moose McGillicuddy's, and we got Buddy. My buddy was a combat photographer
Oh,
in
cool.
the Navy, so he got Buddy with the head bouncer, which was this big dude that looked like the Predator. And he was like, so then after like a month of like just chilling with this dude, he was like, your guys' names are on the VIP list now. So we would walk up and the lines would be like around the corner, and we would look at the line and we'd be like, hey, let's go over to the Irish bar and have a beer real quick. So we'd go over there and have a beer, we'd come back, and we'd act like we were gonna walk towards the corner, and we'd just walk right up to the front of the line, grab a couple pretty ladies, be like, you guys want to go?
Yeah, let's go.
Always good times.
Yeah, you have to have a couple girls with you anyway. That helps.
But Hawaii's rough on Halloween because you're looking at these, looking at the girls and you don't know if it's a girl or a guy.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's a tough one.
Halloween on Waikiki is popping.
It's a tough one, yeah.
There's a lot of crazy.
That's a
things
huge
going on.
industry out there.
Yeah.
I
That
must
and
do-
ice.
Oh, ice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ice.
Ice, yeah.
Wait, is that
Huge.
just crystal meth?
Yeah.
That's just it's Christmas,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So like, I just always
It-
watched
it's
Dog
a-
the Bounty Hunter, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
get him.
It's a huge. It's a
I
more
seen
potent.
Dog once when I was there.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
at a
Oh.
restaurant.
His
eating.
wife just passed away not long ago.
Oh,
He's
she
yeah.
had
remarried.
cancer, didn't she?
Did he get remarried again?
Yeah.
Oh,
To a
stop.
longtime
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
It's the one that was there with him
Yeah,
when
yeah.
she passed away.
Yeah.
They got
Wow.
a crazy family.
So if there was only one gun you could shoot for the rest of the time, what would it be?
Honestly, it wouldn't be a gun.
Oh, what would it be then?
A crossbow.
Crossbow.
One gun for the rest of the time. I'm gonna go with an M4.
Yeah, probably.
M4.
More reliable.
Yeah.
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 Good for whatever ails you.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
ails them.
You can
I don't know, man.
do things to them. You can
Yeah.
put attachments on them.
Oh yeah, you change them all around.
Yeah. Give me an M4 and
A bunch of money. to
yeah, and a
play
bunch of
with.
money and I'll have fun.
Yeah.
One of the most fun
What was your
weapons that
weapon
I
like?
shot was an MP5. I really
I've
liked
always
the MP5.
dreamed about those being like the perfect weapon for me.
Well,
yeah,
the
because
thing
I'm
is-
like little.
The
and
thing,
they're-
well,
Yeah.
that's the
you know?
thing.
Yeah.
That's the thing is, if you get the collapsible stock on it, you can buy the extended suppressors for them. So it's almost like having a like a short range rifle. It's a 9mm round.
I carried an M16 and I'm
That thing's
5'5",
dope.
and the thing used to almost drag on the ground because I had a 1-point
Yeah.
swing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Used to dangle right in. So the thing used to almost be on the ground because it was so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I was getting out, it was only platoon sergeants and platoon leaders had M4s.
Well, they got.
And drivers, I think.
I just follow the rainbow. It makes it interesting. It looks like they're changing things around.
Yeah, everybody has that new thing.
General Dunford, when he was the commandant, wanted heavy infantry men to have an M4. And then they had some of the gunners and stuff, but the infantry came back and said that we actually want people to want it because the SSE was out. So people wanted to think that.
Yeah.
Now they're basing on the saw, right?
Yeah, yeah. They already did it.
Yeah.
I heard that everybody's carrying that, what the new saw is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, everybody.
Maybe the infantry.
Yeah, and
Well, that's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Wow.
everybody's carrying it now.
Yeah.
That's still a 5.56 round, though, right?
It's modular. I think we shoot some
Oh, both.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I think you take off the barrel of the rearranged.
Yeah.
I never had one up close, but I looked at the floating barrel and there was a band Fader Special Forces.
Yeah.
For a long time.
So I'm old school. My dad has a Winchester 308 automatic, and I've absolutely loved that gun since I was a little kid. So I'm just waiting for that one.
Yeah.
That would be my. That one will reach out and touch you.
Alright, so we got an M4, M4, 308, and MP5.
Maybe an MP5, although I never shot one. You know,
Yeah.
the closest
I
thing
haven't either.
I shot the laser simulator M16 though when I was like 12. We were on Otis Air Force Base, my
Yeah.
Christian school. We got a little paramilitary in our heads because it
Yeah.
was like the Raptors coming and it was like a pretty intense experience, you know. And the planes were touching down every day.
Yeah.
So we went on a field trip and we got to shoot like that simulator range straight into
Yeah.
the sandbags.
Yeah.
I crushed that. That was fun. But yeah, I think that. Or you know what I picked up in Knuckles' gun closet, which is freaking amazing, was the mini pistol version of the AK. It's like an AK-74 or something like that. It's
Oh
like,
yeah.
like really compact.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, and he goes, that's my go-to.
Yeah.
And then, but then they had everything, and I picked up. It was like a European battle rifle that the Whispering Death or Black Death. There was this one Russian that had 100 kills as a sniper or something, and he used that, and I was like, 305 or I don't know, but it's like a semi-automatic medium range, and I picked it up and it had the right scope and everything on it. I was like, this one speaks to me, and they were like, good choice, you
Yeah.
know, like very classic.
Maybe you saw the price tag on it.
Actually, they said those ones aren't that expensive.
Really?
They had some of the done-up M4s too,
Yeah.
with all the rubber and all the
Yeah.
blowback and pivot shit, and I was
Yeah.
like,
That gets expensive.
Yeah.
See, to carry, I've always wanted a 357, a snub nose 357, nice little revolver.
yeah,
Have a couple
reliable.
of quick loads on the other hip, you know.
I wasn't a real fan of it. Done for a handgun, so I thought you could shoot something with the Glock.
Oh,
Glock
yeah.
17, reliable.
Yeah.
They
you can't go wrong with that.
they're very smooth. They're a very
I
smooth
was always
nose.
a SIG fan until I started shooting Glock, and I was like, oh, I kind of like Glock.
Yeah,
But SIG's top of the line too. I like SIGs.
yeah. So, okay, now my other question. I'm giving you guys the 4 questions. What was like your proudest experience in the military, or day in the military, or thing you got from the military? What was the thing that?
Oh, wow. I've never been asked that.
I get crazy answers to this. I love it.
The satisfactory day is when I switched from Combat Assault Battalion to 3rd CEB Combat Engineer Battalion in 29 Palms. And I showed up there, and I had my warrant for corporal, but I hadn't picked it up yet, and it got like lost in translation. So I was kind of a little corporal, but I couldn't remember rank or anything until they saw it. So a month goes by, and I'm at 29 Palms, and I was just feeling everyone out to see who the assholes were. And I didn't tell anyone that I wasn't a boot. Like,
Yeah.
they thought this was my first duty station, so I'm just gonna sit there and be old, salty. The camis are pretty like beat up, and I'm like, these people didn't bother to ask me if I didn't come straight from like boot camp.
Yeah.
And I hated the gunny for H&S, and he was kind of a wicked dick to me when I checked in too. And I was like, all right, whatever. So when the warrant finally came, and then he had to promote me, and it was very satisfactory to see him there.
Nice.
You're like, oh, fucker.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the most satisfactory thing. Yeah, I told you it wasn't new.
Yeah. So you're like, boom.
Yeah, and then that same day they read my name from Afghanistan that had already been awarded, but that came with it, so they had to read that out loud, and I was like, oh crap.
Yeah. I got my paper when I was on terminal.
Yeah.
I got out a Lance on terminal, and I got the promotion paper in the mail. So
Oh. You're gonna have one next.
oh dude, I'm still thinking. I mean, I know the greatest time I had in the military was my first deployment because I was young. I was 19 when we deployed. No wife, no kids.
Yep.
Just with my buddies. Just having-
Enjoying it.
I mean, when we first got there, of course, it's nerve wracking at first, but once you get in the groove,
Yeah.
Iraq and the little EAS zombies, huh?
yeah, yeah, the EAS sign, I love that. It was that whole first deployment was just like I had no other worry in the world other
Yeah.
than what was happening in that deployment. And then when I got back, my son was born when I was on my second deployment.
Okay.
I got married right before my second. I'm still married, but still same.
Yeah,
wife.
nice.
Yeah, 12 years. But
He's 1%.
I know,
right?
that's because I hear
That's the
horror
1%
stories.
of the
strippers
1% of the 1%,
Yeah.
Or
right?
getting married or being swingers on
Yeah.
swingers and bases. We could have a whole show on that.
Oh, God.
yeah, but I just had no
You
worry in the
may
world. I
as well
was
have a
just
show on that, boy.
no worry in the world, as I was just worried about what was happening in that time.
Yeah,
at
so
that
you're
place,
in the moment,
At
yeah.
that, those 7 months or whatever it was.
Yeah.
It was just focusing on that. So
Yeah, that's a weird thing about a deployment like Afghanistan. You're sitting there and you're so isolated and you're doing very dangerous stuff, but it doesn't feel that dangerous because like that's the
Yeah.
whole world.
Yeah.
That's all everybody's doing. All
Yeah.
the
and
time.
it's like everybody's doing the same thing with you.
You don't
Like
want to
Yeah.
use that attached to you all day
Yeah.
because there's no service.
and
out
back
there.
then it was 06,
Well, it
no
wasn't
07.
mine.
There was that was just when Facebook started. So
Oh,
there was
right.
there was no Facebooks.
Yeah.
Well, I made my Facebook on my first deployment.
You finally got
Those
internet.
things almost killed us.
Yeah, yeah.
Why?
Fucking
Just
cell phones.
because people would have like
Oh,
GPS
there
attachments
was
and
there
stuff.
were burner phones out there,
Oh,
and we paid a god awful amount to get internet on them or to get call service on them. So like a lot of times my boss would be like, "Hey, meet up." Like, it's like, man, you live right upstairs from me. Just come down here, knock on my door. Don't quit texting this shit to me.
yeah.
So it's like, obviously he didn't say where, but it's like meet up, and it's like 2:00 in the morning. So they know we're gonna do something. Like, he's not gonna have me meet him at 2:00 in the morning.
For nothing.
Yeah, for nothing.
So yeah,
It's like,
just the
come on,
intelligence
dude.
of it. Oh
But
shit.
it's just those damn things.
Yeah, we barely had internet out there, and then there was
Yeah,
like
same.
4 computers, I think, finally.
I was staying in a morgue in Karma, Iraq. We took over an old morgue and built a fob out of it.
No way.
It was already built when we got there, but
Yeah.
yeah, they took a unit before us took it over.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was no phones, no nothing. Facebook wasn't that big back then.
Yeah.
Patriots lost the Super Bowl to the Giants
Mm.
that year. I just
Oh.
got back from patrol, and all my boys that were from different areas would come and give me shit.
And I
about
swear,
it.
like your knees and joints and everything don't hurt until you get back.
Yeah.
Like they didn't hurt over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
A
it's
week
so
later,
dry.
like, oh,
you know?
God.
Well, see, that's the thing is a lot of us, we got into that pace over there. So when they took you through the transition to come home, everybody was like, "Yeah, I don't feel anything. Yeah, I feel great. Let's go. Let's get home." And then you get
So
home, and you
excited.
get off the airplane, and you're like, "Wow,
That was
my
8 months
body
of
just
getting
went through hell for the last fucking 9 months,
Yeah.
or a year. Like, holy shit."
I started feeling it more when I got out.
Yeah.
Like after the whole 4 years.
Yeah.
As time goes on, I
I've
feel
been
it more
in
and
for a
more.
while.
It doesn't
Yeah,
matter,
he's got
buddy.
Yeah.
20 years on me, but
Even 4 years ages you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
It's-
yeah.
You know what's
It's
funny
like
with
that.
some of you guys though? They'll be in class,
Yeah.
and I'm like, is this dude 26 or 40?
yeah.
like how old are you? Like I can't tell.
That's
And
like
I'm
when he
you know,
told
like
me
I'm
his-
looking
when he
at
told me
somebody
his
and I'm
age.
How
like,
old do you think I am?
you gotta be 26, right? 28.
32.
Okay, so, but you look good.
Yeah,
you know,
thank
like
you.
you're handsome, you know.
Well, thank you.
But
Yeah,
like
it's
some
okay.
dudes in
I'm not
classes
that.
though, they look like weathered, and then the 1,000-yard stare. You know,
Yeah.
where they're just like looking through you, like
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
no,
seen a lot.
That-
You
Yeah.
know, and you're like, whoa.
At the point of sitting in your class, that might not be the 1,000-yard stare anymore.
Yeah. They've just relaxed a little bit, but
Yeah.
dude, the first couple guys we fished was like Jay, and then Jordan, and Jay just couldn't sit in class. Like he was like, getting out of here.
Oh,
And
he
so
used to text me in the parking lot. He'd be like, "Dude,
I can't come
get
in."
out here. I can't come in."
he wouldn't sleep. He fished the canal. He brought 50-pound stripers to my class, like in an ice bucket. I'm like, pay for the day, buddy. Can't even pick this thing up. Like. It was crazy. No, it was fun. And then we fished a bunch, and then we got Jay, and then everybody kind of just. Josh. It was funny. Jay hated Josh. I just hated him. And I'm like, is it because Army dude, or he's like a tank guy in your helicopter? Like, he's like, I just don't like him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was weird, like, to see, like, who could chill and who couldn't. But then that also was good because it made, like, different little teams
Yeah.
of, like, 2-3 guys that would hang hard. You
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah.
then it.
See, Jay knew the ship life, so me and him hit it off
Yeah.
like right
And he's a
away.
really cool dude, and
Yeah,
you both
yeah.
are probably the most like into fishing too. like it was good to have you guys
Because I
that knew
met
how to
these,
do stuff.
I met these guys at the Bass and Blue tournament that first year that we did it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That Hydra put it on.
I love them. They're
I can't
really
even
good.
take a fish off a hook, so
Yeah, dude, we'll do it all for you. It's fun.
Alright,
You're just
cool,
hanging
yeah.
out. Yeah.
I tell them that all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
I went fishing for a bachelor party once, one of my buddies, and I thought it was more work than it was fun.
Yeah, I know.
The
There's
guy's
a bunch of
yelling-
shit to do.
The guy's
Yeah.
yelling at me because you got to do this jig.
Yeah.
What it's
Yeah.
called. My arms are getting tired, and he's like, "No, don't stop, don't stop."
You gotta keep drinking all day.
I'm like,
That's
"Dude,
like
that's supposed to be fun. My arms are gonna fall off."
I know.
That's what that's what I was drinking.
Yeah,
so
wait.
I'm wasted doing. This guy's screaming at me to jig. I'm like, dude.
Wait until you hook up to that monster.
No,
and
I
you're
got-
fighting that
I
thing
got
for
one,
an
and then-
hour and a half.
The guy's yelling at me to reel. I'm like, dude, I can barely breathe.
I know.
Oh.
That's what right
I'm
now.
gonna have a heart attack.
Yeah.
right.
He says, we paid for this. Why are you yelling at me?
Yeah. Yeah, right. You're supposed to be nice.
I don't even care if I get the thing in the boat. Just don't yell at me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so true. Some people are very intense fishing. You have to find the happy medium, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's two different styles of fishing. Like I fish for sport, and people who fish for meat, like they're fishing to like fill a cooler or
Yeah.
want to like enjoy the preparation and flaying fish and stuff. I notice like if I don't get some light tackle, spinning, casting action, I'm like not satisfied. Like I don't mind bottom
That's
fishing.
me though.
You like
I-
bottom fishing?
You know what? Because of the diversity of fish that I love to fish,
Oh yeah.
because I grew up freshwater.
Yep.
Like I didn't saltwater fish until I joined the Navy.
Okay.
And when I was out on the ship was actually the first time when they dropped the back of it that I'd ever been saltwater fishing. So I didn't know anything about saltwater. Everything was freshwater for me. So when I came out here, and I was married to somebody who really didn't believe in all that stuff, so I didn't do a lot of it
Okay.
until I got divorced, and then
Yeah.
I started back into my fishing and hunting and all that stuff.
Getting back to the roots.
When I got out here is when I started getting into Jay's actually the one that got me into striper fishing.
Oh, cool.
Going down to the canal, and I thought
I
it was
love
just the
hanging
greatest
out with him there.
lot of work. Like,
Oh,
he was
yeah.
like, "Hey, I'll meet you there at 3:30." I'm like, "In the afternoon." He's like, "No, in the morning." I'm like,
Yeah, it's a breaking tide. Come on.
I'm like, "Oh God."
Jig,
Okay.
jig, 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 jig.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so then
yeah.
we go out there, and this dude is casting like 3/4 of the way across
Oh,
the
he can
canal.
cast, he can throw
Like,
away.
like that dude almost
He's
making
so
it to the other
long.
side.
He's like, I'm
Yeah,
getting it.
and then I get up there and I whip that thing out there and it goes boom. I'm like, come on,
I know,
seriously?
dude.
He's like, no, man, you gotta do it like this. And he made it look clever.
Like the steeple cast.
I was the exact opposite. I started saltwater and then moved to fresh, and I actually kind of enjoy fresh now.
Oh, 'cause you're in Pembroke.
See,
you have all
that's
those,
my fight.
ponds
Yeah.
right there.
That's my catch and release time.
I've been both.
Yeah.
I like fresh, but I
I
pick.
I take a lot of my
kayaks, it's
nieces.
fun.
See, fresh is for me is it's less work. Like you can just pull off on the
Yeah.
side of the road,
Yeah.
fish for an hour.
Yep.
Like when you
Yeah.
go out saltwater,
It's a
it's
commitment.
kind of like you need to get ready. You need to bring food.
Yeah,
like,
or
especially
you
if you're
can
on a boat.
you can get in a canoe
Yeah.
or a little inflatable
Yeah,
and you can
the
go sit out
access
on a
is so
lake.
nice, yeah.
You can go sit out on like Tispicoon Pond. I can get in a little kayak and go sit out there and just throw lines. That's what we did.
Yep.
We got
Yeah,
little
fish
kayaks
every
and
which
just
way.
float around and so the freshwater because I take a lot of the nieces and nephews. That's how I grew up. So that is my fun time. That's my sport time. Catch and release. I teach all the kids that. When I go out striper, I am looking for that keeper. I
Yeah.
want that fillet.
Yeah, yeah.
My mother-in-law is very good at cooking it. I absolutely love it. And then same
It is fun to bring
same,
fish home. When you're
same
like,
with the
I
black
love
bass.
Yeah.
this. Yeah,
The black sea bass.
You
I
love
do
those.
love good
Best
striper.
best fish
But
I've had.
If I got 2 keepers a day, like I'll start sending them back. Like I'll keep one fish, and I don't need the second one because honestly, it's just
Yeah, it's gonna just
Yeah,
spoil them.
yeah,
You don't
and
have
that's-
friends.
And that's the thing too is like I caught that one that year and that was it.
Yep.
I could have cared less if I caught another one.
Yeah.
Like I went down to onset to my in-laws and like fished off their dock for some schoolies and stuff like that, just to fight and stuff like that. But I had that one and that was I mean, Jesus, the fillets were
Dude.
that long. So that was what a good 6-7 meals right there.
Yeah, yeah. And it's delicious. It's
Yeah.
easy to cook. You can do
Yeah.
anything with it.
It doesn't have a real strong fishy taste.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
good.
flaky.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are good. I see people trying to eat Albies now, and I'm like, get out of freaking my life. It's gross. I'd rather eat cat food out of a cat food can.
Yeah.
So my proudest moment would have probably been when I saw my dad for the first time when I came home from Iraq. Because that was a connection to combat vets.
Yep.
There was more than that father-son at that point.
So you just
So that was
new
huge.
life.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And that, I'd been in for 15 years already. So there still wasn't that connection of that combat connection.
The deployment.
But when I went to Iraq and then when I came home, his deployment was Vietnam, very different than mine.
Okay.
He was a lot more combat oriented in
Yeah.
firefights and
Yeah.
a lot more of that kind of stuff. As far as the cleanup and stuff like that, it was kind of similar. My dad felt for me because I had a family
Okay.
and it
that
wasn't
must
going
make it
good.
so much scarier.
And and it wasn't going good.
Oh, so yeah.
I was going through all that while I was in combat. So my dad said that was the big difference. He said the hardest thing for him was the way he was treated when he came home.
Yeah.
He was like, and then to see today the
love.
way those guys are treated when we came home.
Yep.
Like we'd walk through an airport and people would stand and cheer us
Yeah.
coming through.
That's why I go out of my way for Vietnam guys.
You know,
Yeah.
so that absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, that was a generation lost
Yeah.
through the VA. That was a generation lost through, they were hated. Like they were absolutely hated when they came home.
Yeah.
So then all of them isolated.
Yeah.
So then when the big push came for VA benefits for those of us now, nobody thought to look back at the Vietnam vets and say, oh shit, we forgot about these guys.
Yeah.
And they were all still in their early 60s, mid 60s.
Yeah.
You know, that was 10, 15 years ago. Well, now almost
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Mhm.
So my dad's 70, gonna be 73. So 20 years ago, he was still in his late 50s
Yeah.
when they made the big push to start getting the vets that were coming home from Iraq, that were in Desert Storm and stuff like that, when they were starting to push them through the VA. They forgot about the Vietnam vets. So now the Vietnam vets are going now, and they're like, well, no. Well, why not? Well, because you're just telling us this.
Oh, so it's like
It's
almost
like,
like,
well,
a timed out or something.
when I came home, I just wanted to go home because people were throwing tomatoes and rocks and
Yeah.
and calling me a baby killer and everything like that. I was 20 years old. I just
Yeah.
wanted to go home
Yeah.
to Lamberton, Minnesota, of 800 people.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
a little farm that he grew up on, never had experience like this before.
Anything outside of like.
You know, he'd go to Kansas doing wheat and stuff in high school and make money, but other than that, he had no experience like this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, then they're dying off now too. I mean,
Yeah.
They're old.
There's not a lot.
Well,
left.
cancer's taking them.
True Agent
You know,
Orange, all
my
that.
my uncle just passed away, prostate cancer. You know, by the time they caught it, it had went everywhere in his body. So
The VA does this weird thing. I hate to say it, but systematically, like I almost say, they won't recognize or they won't acknowledge an issue until their veterans die from that issue.
Yep,
And I think
absolutely.
it's
Oh,
all
okay,
time.
and then it's almost too late because
Yeah.
you know.
like Agent Orange, type 1 diabetic,
Yeah.
a killer,
Yep.
cancer, a killer. Like my dad has open sores all over his legs, losing feeling in the sides of his legs from Agent Orange, walking through all the foliage
Yeah.
that they dumped all that shit on.
Yep. Yep.
And he never had it before he went.
Yeah.
They keep denying him. They said, "Oh no, that's not a. You have to get one of these basically life killers, like he just said,
Yeah.
in order for you to
To
qualify to
get
get
what you
Agent
need.
Orange."
And then the VA does like the burn pits. I think are going to be another big controversy that
Yep.
you know people are starting to get on board with fighting, realizing that the VA is not undermining, but minimizing how much damage those things can do to the human body.
Yeah.
I think that's the next big fight. I mean, I saw recently Jon Stewart just learned about how the VA is, you know, he was a big advocate for the 9/11
Yep.
Family Memorial Fund,
Yeah.
all the cancer causing stuff from the dust. And then he learned about the burn pits, and it never occurred to him. Someone must have reached out to him. So now he's working with an organization to lobby. It's called a presumptive. That if you were exposed to a burn pit and you have a list of these symptoms, that the VA will acknowledge that the burn pit called that. So
Okay.
he's starting to fight with us to get.
And what they have to
bunch of stuff
realize
as
is
presumptive.
Iraq is just a giant burn pit.
Mm.
Like they would literally burn
That smell
their
of the
trash
burn
and
pit is,
everything.
like,
Yeah,
so
It-
intense.
yeah, it brings
they
you
would burn
back.
everything
Yeah.
right there in the streets. They would have giant pits, like in a neighborhood, and they would just everything would go in there and they burn.
Trash.
There's
Yeah.
no smell like a burn
Part
pit.
of my responsibility was
Yeah.
once a week I'd take the dozer down to the burn pit and push all the trash up so
Yep.
we could keep burning.
Yeah.
You know, I spent a fair amount of time directly in the middle of the burn pit, and I'd be like, hey, you know, there's a blown up Afghani army car just burning away. You know,
Yep.
like-
Mm.
or batteries, car batteries. I saw hundreds of them in there. And,
Yep.
like tires.
Man.
Oh
Burn it
God!
all.
Like yeah, there's a
I
million.
mean, even like going into like we went into a lot of explosions. Like
Yeah.
after the aftermath of explosions, there's just burning cars all over the place.
Yeah.
That shit was like you were breathing that shit in constantly.
Mhm.
It just stunk over there, bad.
Yeah.
Then you were showering in who knows what.
Yeah.
Like they were like, whatever you do, do not get any of the water in your mouth. And it's like,
Yeah.
what are you fucking talking
Then
about?
why
So
is
what if
this
it gets
on
in
my
my
body?
eyes or goes up my nose or in my ears? I was like, am I gonna? So who knows what all of us got from the Tigris River over there?
Yeah,
so
I found it
Could-
funny because I think the CDC just acknowledged that you shouldn't drink out of warm water bottles that have been sitting in
Yeah.
the sun.
yeah, that's all we drank out of.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah,
it.
the big water bottles.
Yeah.
You just
Shit, it was 120 degrees
Yeah.
outside.
Pallet, you
It's
go
like,
down
I
like
am
two of them.
only-
Yeah, hey, you try to get the one in the middle because you know it's probably the coolest because
Yeah.
it's been in the shade.
Like
Oh
how
my
much
God,
EPA
that's funny.
we consume.
Yeah, right. We're
But
all
of it.
filled with cancer. Every single
Yeah.
one of us.
Yeah.
I think that the VA is heading in the right direction. I honestly, and I understand that I've probably been on the more fair side because of being 20 years, which is sad to say, because it's not the 20 years that got me, it was the combat that got me.
Mhm.
You know, that's what I struggle from.
Yeah.
My 20 years was not bad at all. Shit, I was in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I went to Ibiza, Spain. That's the top party spot in the world.
Oh, yeah.
I went to Lisbon, Portugal, North Africa. I've been all over the Mediterranean. I've been pretty much all over the United States. I've seen places I'd have never seen.
Yep.
You know, so my career wasn't bad from the time I went to combat to the end, which was my last 5 years, was fucking shit.
Yeah.
Like it was horrible. So it wasn't my career that did this to me. It was the combat
Yeah.
and just the aftermath of combat.
Yeah.
But
I love the VA and I hate it. I've had good experiences there, especially with their mental health.
yes,
I think they went a little too overboard with everything's mental health.
Mm.
You know, all your symptoms are related to anxiety, but you can't deny that we're all exposed to some pretty nasty chemicals. and
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
won't do enough exploration for you. I've heard.
Like even neuropsych valves for concussive injury that
Yeah.
could have been just being next to a big machine all the time.
Yeah.
You know, like
well, and that's the thing is they tested me for TBI because I was in multiple explosions, and they were like, "Yeah, you got TBI, but we're not giving you anything for it
And then,
because it's not severe enough
yeah,
Mm.
because I'm still cognitive."
the other
okay,
big
yeah.
thing.
So
that,
if you don't have the short-term and activities of daily living issues, then they don't
Yeah.
do shit for you.
the other big thing they do, you know, when you sit there and, you always gotta know what this is.
That they had.
TBI.
There's good. Hey, you want to take like a 5-minute break?
Yeah, definitely. Let's chill for a second.
Head outside.
Dude, this was awesome. We got a lot.
Are you gonna pause?